Well, hello, people. Now, does anybody know who this guy is? Everybody knows who this guy is. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the persona of the American dream. He came to America and he was just a bodybuilder who could hardly speak any English. But look at him today. I take my hat off to the guy. He's done very well. Of course, Hollywood is trying to make The Rock the same thing, but it doesn't work for me. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a great actor, but he can act better than The Rock. And of course it doesn't help that The Rock doesn't have any charisma. And he's generally in all B movies, but Hollywood keeps on pushing him as the greatest. Push him all you want, he'll never be an Arnold Schwarzenegger. But is Arnold Schwarzenegger all that great, or did he just get kinda lucky? So here's the film that put Arnold Schwarzenegger on the map. And we all know this film, The Terminator, the first one. Was he hired for his acting ability? Of course not. He was hired because of his size, his muscles. And he only had about, 23 lines in the whole movie. Perfect for an Arnold Schwarzenegger in those days. Of course, the film could have flopped, and we would probably never hear Arnold Schwarzenegger's name again. But it didn't flop, did it? In fact, it was very, very successful, which made Arnie a bankable product in Hollywood. Of course, he's made a lot of rubbish movies, but also a lot of good ones. Here's another movie that he was in. Quite an old movie, of course. This is The Predator, the first one. And it was another perfect role for him. Playing the tough army guy, or special forces guy. But the premise of the film is what made it memorable, isn't it? Unfortunately, of course, they ruined it with the remakes. As generally, they always do. And he made films like Commando, which is the same sort of vein sort of thing. Army guy. And of course there's Total Recall, which is a sci-fi film, and it kind of worked pretty good. And it had comedy. But here for me is my most favourite film with Arnold Schwarzenegger in. True Lies. Absolutely a cracking film. It has action all the way through. Great storyline, great acting, great action scenes, and even comedy. For me, this film had it all. And I still enjoy watching it today, and it holds up really well. But unfortunately, here's a film that didn't hold up very well at all, even though it did have Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. Terminator Dark Fate. I mean, what a terrible piece of propaganda film this was. Completely woke and feminized. It was all about empowering femons and making the men look insignificant. And what I didn't like about Arnold was that before this film came out, he went onto social media and made a video to ask all his fans to go watch this film, as it's the best film that he's ever made, and how great it was, and how the action scenes were all good. Now, he was in the film, he must have known what it was really like, so he actually lied to his fans, just for the bottom line. In other words, he sold his fans out, didn't he? Maybe people forgot about that. I didn't. And he also actually said a few things that weren't very good in the pandemic over COVID. But anyway, I think his latest project was FUBAR. And is trying to work on, True Lies a little bit. The premise is he works for the CIA and so does his daughter, but neither one of them know each other work for the CIA. Yeah, very unlikely, of course. But then they find out that both of them work for the CIA and they have to work together. And it's supposed to be a lot of action and supposed to be a comedy. But it hasn't got great reviews. The writing apparently is terrible. The acting is not much better. And it's a bit woke, where the females always are the action people. Where men are just there. And I watched a little bit of it myself, and I could see what everybody means. Quite a boring. And of course his daughter has no problem doing anything. She's good at everything, like Rey was in Star Wars. You know, the typical femon trope in the films nowadays. Or in anything, in fact. I don't think there's too many seasons in FUBAR. The comedy isn't funny like it was in True Lies. It's corny. But you gotta give it to him, he's still doing, at his age. Now here's some news about Arnie. Natural news. He was detained in the Munich airport. Apparently he didn't pay the duty on a watch he bought. And he had to be taken to an ATM or something to pay a $35,000 fine. So how much was the goddamn watch? He said he bought the watch so he could auction it off at a charity. Well, now he's going to do that, yes. But if the watch cost what I think it might have done, you don't forget it's in your luggage, do you? But of course it's for charity. Yeah, honey, don't know whether I believe that one, buddy, but it looks good in the news, doesn't it? So there is the guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, made a few wrong steps, but generally speaking, done very well. And he seems to be an alright guy. And probably worth quite a few bob, I expect. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and of course, I'll be back.